I'm Ashleigh Grange. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, a flower essence specialist, and a holistic energy practitioner. I'm also the founder of Inner Plant Wisdom, where we offer consciously crafted flower essences for people, pets, and plants. Now, whether you've been using flower essences for decades or you just picked up a Bach flower remedy from your local health food store, you might have some questions about these simple but powerful little plant remedies. I thought it would be fun to put together a video on some of the most frequently asked questions that I get about flower essences. So here we go. Some of the most frequently asked questions that I get about flower essences are: what are flower essences? How do flower essences work? How are flower essences made? How do I choose a flower essence? How do I use flower essences? Are flower essences safe? How long do I need to use flower essences? And how should I store my flower essences? So we'll be covering all of these questions in the next few minutes. Now, if you are new to flower essences, you might be wondering what they are exactly. Flower essences are sometimes called flower remedies, especially overseas, and these are energized water infusions that resonate with specific vibrational frequencies. They are a form of energy medicine and can provide support for emotional, mental, spiritual, and occasionally physical well-being. They help address imbalance and dysfunction in a vibrational manner, and they help to balance, rebuild, and restore our body's energetic systems. They are intended to be natural, gentle, non-invasive, and also effective tools for optimizing your overall wellness. Dr. Edward Bach's remedies are probably the most well-known range of flower essences around the world. You may have even seen them at your local health food store. Bach, who was an English physician and later became a homeopath, developed a range of 38 individual flower essences in the mid-1930s. He also created a composite formula of 5 flower essences that he called Rescue Remedy. Many consider him to be the pioneer of modern flower essences. Now, flower essences may seem simple in terms of ingredients, but they can provide unique and long-lasting support. Once you've tried them, you realize how much more sophisticated they are than they first appear. I wish I had a short and sweet answer to this. I've been taught and learned from a variety of perspectives, so I'm happy to share a few here. Flower essences have been known to work on our emotional, mental, spiritual, and occasionally physical energy systems, as I mentioned. One might think of them as a tool to help open emotional blockages and release stuck energy. In the 1980s, Michelle Small-Wright wrote a book called Flower Essences: Reordering Our Understanding and Approach to Illness and Health. In this book, she discusses the relationship between flower essences and the central nervous system. She writes that one result of disorder and dysfunction is that the corresponding electrical circuitry along the spinal column breaks, short circuits. The relevant nervine networks then receive weakened electrical impulses instead of the usual strong ones that we might expect. Later on, she explains that flower essences, in a most efficient and dramatic manner, are able to reconnect the broken circuitry and rebalance the electrical overload along the spine. This in turn stops the weakening domino effect that ultimately leads to illness. So Miss Wright's position is that the central nervous system can short circuit due to stress and trauma. And she explains how flower essences can help repair these damaged connections. Of course, it's important always to remember that this is happening energetically or vibrationally. Next, I will share 2 more perspectives on how flower essences might work. Sabina Petit wrote a book called Energy Medicine: Healing from the Kingdoms of Nature. In this book, she writes, "Essences work to change something which is out of balance or in a state of dis-ease in the multidimensional human. There is an innate intelligence in all of life which demonstrates a natural tendency towards orderliness. Her essences are informed by her work as an acupuncturist and linked to traditional Chinese medicine meridians, as well as the Ayurvedic medicine chakras. If you are new to chakras, these are energy centers that open, close, and draw in energy. Another perspective I like to share about how flower essences work is by David Dalton. He wrote a book called Stars of the Meadow, Exploring Medicinal Herbs as Flower Essences. In this book, he explains that flower essences bring imprints of trauma to the surface where they can be worked with and released. His flower essences are associated with the human energy system via the Ayurvedic chakras. So these are 3 different but related perspectives on how these energetic tools might actually work. Well, in my experience, flower essences help foster energetic homeostasis so our vitality is enhanced. So they are a tool that can be combined with any other natural health or holistic tools that you are already using. They can help redirect our awareness to sensations and situations that we didn't notice previously. And by becoming aware of the problematic patterns in our lives, we can help make changes for the better. Another common question I get all the time is, how are flower essences made? Well, you might be surprised to find out that flower essence making is an art and healing practice that dates back many centuries. It could date back to the 12th century with German writer and visionary Saint Hildegard. She wrote about collecting the morning dew on flowering plants. And Paracelsus, who was a Swiss physician and botanist, also wrote about similar practices during the 15th century. However, it is Dr. Edward Bach's sun infusion method that is perhaps the most well-known method of making flower essences. It calls for picking and floating, locally grown, ideally organic, healthy flowers in full bloom across the surface of a bowl of spring water. These bowls are set out in the sun on a cloudless day, ideally close to where they were picked. After at least 3 to 4 hours, the flowers are strained and the energized water is preserved. Traditionally, this is done with brandy. This is what we call the mother essence. Stock and dosage essences are then made from it. Some makers also succuss them like homeopathic remedies. Flower essences can also be made in other ways, like Dr. Bach's boiling method. Some flower essence makers also use a no-pick method for rare flowers that cannot be cut or disturbed. If you are trying to avoid brandy as a preservative and you still wish to use flower essences orally, they can be preserved with apple cider vinegar or glycerin instead. This is an option for children and pets if you wish to use essences orally. You can also use brandy-stabilized essences externally with pets and children, and this is equally effective. The next question is, how do I choose flower essences? Selecting a suitable flower essence is part art, part science, and often part intuition or gut instinct. You can choose essences on an analytical basis just by reading essence descriptions. These are found on websites or in books or even in flower essence catalogs. For example, do you need an essence to help remain calm, collected in the face of stress and overwhelm? Do you need an essence to help bring more joy and positivity to your life? Using your conscious mind is one way to choose a flower essence or blend. If you tend to be more left-brained and methodical, an analytical method may work well for you. Another way to choose essences is on an intuitive basis. I believe every single one of us is intuitive, but perhaps we've forgotten or walled off this part of ourselves. With an intuitive method, consider which images or photos are you most drawn to? Are you attracted to certain colors or shapes? Do you practice kinesiology or muscle testing, even dowsing with a pendulum? If so, an intuitive method may work well for you. So now you've bought one or more flower essences and you're wondering, what's next? How do I start working with these potentially life-changing bottles? Well, the most common way to use flower essences is orally. That's the way most people know of them and the way that Dr. Bach recommended. Just drop or spray them directly into your mouth. Be careful not to touch the dropper or spray nozzle directly with your tongue or hands. Standard schedule is 3 to 4 drops or 1 to 2 sprays 3 to 4 times per day. You can also add flower essences to a glass of water and take regular sips throughout your day. So that's mostly internal use. However, I often prefer to use them externally. Are you surprised? I don't think enough people are doing this, and I find this works so well. Sue Lilly actually talks about this in her book, The Essence Practitioner. She writes that this is probably the fastest way to introduce an essence into your energetic field. She explains how to breathe in the essence. So you want to put a few drops in the palm of your hand, rub your hands together, and then take a deep breath. I've experienced very quick results with my own subjective and limited testing, and I encourage you to try it yourself. You can also do the same with a spray essence, and both of these methods will actually extend the life of your essences because you need very little to get quite obvious results. I'd like to offer a few more ways to use flower essences topically. You can apply flower essences to your pulse points. You can add flower essences to a favorite lotion or cream. And you could even use flower essences to your next bath. This is a great way to introduce the flower essence to your entire energy field. And if you'd like to discover a ton of new ways to use flower essences beyond these tips, go and visit our website and you can download a free copy of our How to Use Flower Essences guide. It's 16 pages of creative ideas and suggestions for using flower essences, and there should be a direct link somewhere in our About area. The next question you might wonder is, are flower essences safe? Well, we all know that nothing can be 100% safe for everybody all of the time. You can be allergic to anything, even the sun or the cold. But flower essences are pretty safe for most people most of the time. They have a very short ingredients list and usually consist of just water and alcohol. They contain the flower's vibrational frequencies, but the finished products do not contain any physical plant parts or materials. Therefore, they don't have the same contraindications that you might get with herbs, essential oils, or even other natural supplements. Because flower essences are acting at an energetic level, there's little worry about them interacting with or reducing the effectiveness of conventionally prescribed medications. Flower essences are often preserved with alcohol, so you may prefer to consult your doctor if you take any meds. However, the amount of alcohol is just a few drops at a time, and that's if you even take them orally. Externally, this is even less of a concern. Flower essences also don't interact with herbal, vitamin, or mineral supplements. On the other hand, if you're under the care of a practitioner who also uses energetic remedies or testing, you may wish to consult them, since flower essences will work at a vibrational level. The long and short answer is that for most people, in most circumstances, flower essences are incredibly safe. Children and pets of all ages often respond quickly to flower essences. They tend to be energetically resilient already, so less is more. You may wish to request essences that have been preserved with apple cider vinegar or glycerin if you plan to use them orally. And as always, as with anything, if you have a medical concern or condition, please discuss flower essences with your doctor or other primary care provider. Of course, flower essences should never be used to replace medical care or treatment. Please see a doctor if you require medical attention. How long do I need to use flower essences? I get asked this question all the time. And the answer is, that depends. It depends on a lot of factors, to be honest. Sometimes I am recommending a single essence like mullein for just a day or two for extra support. Other times I'm taking a blend like pink pond lily, sapphire lily, or others for up to a month and maybe even more than 4 times a day. It depends on your goals and what you're experiencing. For chronic issues, a typical course of flower essence is a minimum of 14 to 21 days. However, many people experience benefits far sooner than that. And still others may need to use a carefully selected flower essence blend for longer, even up to 3 or 6 months. One word of advice is that if you forget to take your flower essence for 3 or more days in a row, it's time to reassess. So in terms of reassessing, here are a few questions to ask and consider. Do you expect that you will see further benefits if you keep using the flower essence or blend of flower essences? Is it time to switch to a different flower essence or a different blend of flower essences? So for example, have your goals changed and you're no longer in the same place that you were when you first began the course of flower essences? Do you need to take a break and resume the flower essence later? This can be when you have too much going on and you can't devote yourself to the process, or you've had a reaction or something has changed in your life and you're no longer able to focus on this particular essence. You can always take a break. I would like to offer a few tips to help maintain the integrity and longevity of your flower essences. So you want to store flower essences in a cool, dark, and dry place. Store them away from all essential oils and any other products with strong aromas or scents. Ideally, keep flower essences away from electronics as much as possible. This is because the vibrational frequencies of flower essences can be delicate. You want to keep flower essences out of direct sunlight and store your flower essences upright as much as possible. This helps preserve the integrity of the rubber or the plastic stopper for a long-term basis. If you're using a flower essence with a dropper, as so many of us are, make sure not to touch it with your hands or mouth. If you do, rinse the dropper very well under cool running water before returning it to the bottle. This really just helps prevent bacteria from accumulating and growing inside your precious flower essence. And that is it for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this look at some of the questions that I'm frequently asked about flower essences. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below and I will be so happy to answer them for you, either here or in another future video. Hope you are having a wonderful and blessed day.